Well, I mean, listen, there's plenty of reasons to like and dislike Xbox. Let's just be real. It depends on the day. Sometimes I'm more of a fan and sometimes I'm less of a fan. It really just kind of comes down to what Microsoft is doing. Now, listen, I'm always a fan of gaming, and when they have good games and things like that, I'll happily play them and enjoy them if they're great. When it comes to the bad news, I'll always report and talk about that, especially if it affects me personally and I think, oh, you know what, this was really a mistake on their part. Like, I'll never be that type of person anymore that sits there and goes with the flow when Xbox is doing something stupid or PlayStation or whatever, right? Like, I'm more of an Xbox fan, and, I'm not ashamed of that. I think that it's been clear for a long time that I am an Xbox fan, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like not enough people like openly admit it. They'll go, "Oh, well, I own all the consoles, and so of course I can't like one better than the other." Listen, I own all the consoles, always have, still prefer Xbox, right? Again, I've had people comment to me the stupidest things like, "Hey, well, if you're so mad at Xbox, then just sell it, right? Okay, let me sell my Xbox. Let me check. Can I sell the 1,500 digital games that I have installed on it currently? Or will I get a big fat nothing for those thousands and thousands and upon thousands of dollars worth of games, right? Yeah, again, it doesn't make sense to do that. The reason why I fight and continue to be pissed off is because if Xbox does indeed shut down, then they're going to not have their servers up clearly for, that you would need to kind of play your games offline. And so those games become worthless. But anyway, this isn't a bad story. This is a good story and one that I am very excited about. So, hey, hopefully we can get into this. Should be a fun one. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews, back with yet another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. Please smash on that like button. I would appreciate that. Again, things are kind of growing here a little bit for the first time in a while, so if you guys could like the video, subscribe, and maybe even share it out. Let people know what's going on. I do daily video gaming content, and it's a little bit fun. I try to be a little bit informative with having a kind of a fun take on things as well, so please do enjoy. So again, this is interesting. So it looks like another wave of 360 backwards compatibility games might be coming soon, even though the backwards compatibility program has ended. Now, if you know me, you know that I like the fact that they have backwards compatibility. I wish they would have never ended the program. It differentiated itself from PlayStation and gave people an extra reason to actually buy an Xbox. So, again, we kind of have that to look at now, and I'm kind of looking at this and going, this would be cool. So an Xbox 360 game from yesteryear, or more specifically 2010, returned to sale this week after being previously relisted. To date, the Xbox 360 is by far the most popular console, was Xbox's most popular console, and the only Xbox console to go toe-to-toe with its PlayStation counterpart. In this case, it was the PlayStation 3. Now, in terms of sales, as a result, there's a lot of nostalgia to the console among the Xbox player base, and of course, this applies to the 360 games as well. Suffice it to say, Xbox fans are ecstatic to see games from this era seemingly make a grand return. The game in question is Singularity, a 2010 PS3 Xbox 360 game released by Raven Software and publisher Activision. The former an Activision studio now helms Call of Duty Warzone, while the latter is obviously now owned by Xbox, which makes this all the more interesting. Again, us as fans have been asking for Microsoft to re-go into these, these situations and reassess the entire backwards compatibility thing, especially since they own so many different IP and they own Activision now. So a lot of us have asked for like the Transformers games and all these types of things to be kind of looked at and kind of reevaluated, and hopefully Microsoft can do that, because so far there have been 3 rounds of layoffs at Activision and there's been only 3 games put into Game Pass, I believe, from Activision in the time that they have actually done this. So yeah, I think a lot of us are kind of looking at this and going, listen, I can understand that people are feeling kind of a certain way about this stuff. Like for me personally, when I look at how Microsoft has handled things, I don't necessarily think they've handled things in the best way. But, I do think that there is opportunity there for Microsoft to kind of go and do something really, really interesting and, and really kind of get people excited again, and I think that's what Xbox has been missing for a long time now. We've all been kind of waiting for more backwards compatibility titles, and I hope that we get that. Like, what a great way to differentiate yourself from PlayStation, who are having a very tough time doing backwards compatibility on, especially like the stuff that people are really asking for. Like, people are asking for like PS3 backwards compatibility, because there's so many titles that are just absolutely saved and stuck on the PS3, and people want to see those games again. In particular, it's easy to go, well, there's a bunch of Ratchet and Clank games. There's also the Resistance games. There's the Infamous games. There's PlayStation Battle All-Star Royale. There's Little Big Planet Karting, Little Big Planet 1 and 2. There's so many games. Puppeteer, just off the top of my head, the MotorStorm games, and a lot of these games still look great. I mean, Killzone games. I mean, can we even question that there's a phenomenal library of games there that people would love to play via backwards compatibility? I mean, it just makes sense to do that. But anyway, speaking of Microsoft doing backwards compatibility, this would be a smart thing for them to do. The game isn't totally back, though. Right now, the Xbox Store only lists a PC version for sale, which isn't that notable given that the game is on Steam already. The listing is new, however, brand new, but not that consequential. However, the development suggests there are more plans with the game, which include at the very least bringing it back to Xbox consoles via Xbox backwards compatibility. This hasn't been confirmed, but it is unclear why this wouldn't be the intention. It would be very random to restore the PC version of the game on the Microsoft Store and just leave it at that, especially knowing what reaction it'll get from fans. So it's not like this is going to move lots of copies and make lots of money for Microsoft, as this PC version has been on Steam and has been for a while. But not only does it appear that Singularity is being revived for Xbox consoles via Xbox 360 backwards compatibility, but this may point to a larger initiative to revive the parts of the Activision back catalog that has been lost to time. Again, it's little speculation, take it with a grain of salt right now, but it is worthwhile to get, maybe your little hopes up a little bit and say, okay, this could be something really, really cool. And again, I'm super excited by, the idea of this as well. So for those completely unfamiliar with the game, Singularity was a standalone release that had a kind of an average Metacritic at the time, but the lack of commercial success meant it never got a sequel, and it probably never will, but it did begin to earn kind of a cult classic status and was surely popular enough to revive the backwards compatibility program, which has by large parts come to a halt in the past. So yeah, we noticed that. And again, like I said, there's a lot of games that Xbox has that they could absolutely go out there and get people excited about the brand again and things like that. That's what we really need for Xbox, because listen, they're not going to be they're not going to be able to kind of do things that that are going to win people over from PlayStation in droves, really. I mean, everything that like fanboys and probably myself included to some extent has gone, oh man, they could win over Xbox fans if they just did this or this or this, right? It doesn't really work that way, right? Like a lot of people think Call of Duty on Game Pass is something that could, really, change fortunes and things like that. I personally don't live in that world. I think that, obviously, I think that Xbox could definitely do a comeback, but I also think that at the same time, if they don't believe in the product themselves, which it doesn't seem like they do, then who should and who would? Who would actually believe in it at that particular point? So, I really do feel like it's kind of on Microsoft to make people get excited about the brand and get them excited about like the future of kind of what's happening in gaming for Xbox. A lot of us aren't really of the belief that they will stick around long term, and I think that's on Microsoft to kind of change people's minds about that. So, keep that in mind as we continue to go along, and hopefully we can get some better news in the future from Microsoft. But I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible. Let me know how you guys feel about this. I will link this in the description, of course. What backwards compatible games would you all like to see? Let me know. I think it would definitely behoove Microsoft and differentiate themselves tremendously if they could have backwards compatibility brought back once again. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, crap gamer out.